Welcome to this explainer where we're going to unpack a pretty massive concept. Every single meaningful song, whether it's about faith, healing, pure joy, or deep loss, doesn't actually start with some stroke of technical genius or a crazy catchy melody. It begins with a deeply authentic personal story. Today we're diving into a totally transformative songwriting framework called the Soul Canvas. It's this incredible creative journey designed to help you zero in on your unique message and really find your voice. So if you've ever wanted to write a song but just felt, completely intimidated by the whole process, you are in exactly the right place. Let's kick things off by tackling the foundational question that literally every aspiring songwriter has to face before they ever write a single lyric. Where does a meaningful song actually begin? I know, it is so tempting to think it starts with this epic chord progression on an acoustic guitar or some super clever rhyme scheme you thought of in the shower, but the truth? The most powerful music out there always starts long before the very first note is played. It begins with an honest heart that's just willing to share its story. And not someone else's story either, yours.
Now, right off the bat, we've got to address the elephant in the room: artificial intelligence. Look, one of the absolute biggest myths in modern music creation right now is this idea of an AI magic button. Like you can just type a random sentence into a computer and boom, a deeply emotional hit song pops out. No way. In reality, the songs that actually connect with people, the ones that literally move us to tears or give us that burst of hope, they go through so many patient rounds of refinement. It's a real process.
So the crucial takeaway here is that artificial intelligence is merely a creative partner. It is absolutely not your replacement. Sure, AI can generate words, melodies, arrangements, the whole shebang. But you know what it can't do? It can't live your experiences. It hasn't carried your specific burdens, and it definitely hasn't celebrated your breakthroughs. Every single important decision still belongs entirely to you. Think of technology as just another instrument in your toolkit, one that's meant to amplify your unique voice, definitely not silence it.
Let's move on to the core of this whole thing, the soul canvas metaphor.
What's so fascinating about this soul canvas concept is how it completely reframes your own life. It's basically the idea that you, yes, you, already carry this incredibly unique collection of profound moments that are just waiting to be shared. You've got experiences that could seriously encourage someone else. You've got hard-earned lessons, moments of struggle, and seasons of redemption. You don't have to just make things up out of thin air. It's all about mining the rich, incredibly complex life you have already lived.
And that brings us to this brilliant way to think about how the process actually works. Those lived experiences become your canvas, and your words become the paint. Ultimately, your music is the beautiful picture that emerges from all of that. The goal here isn't just to hand the reins to a machine and let it dictate your narrative. Not at all. The goal is to discover your authentic story, organize those completely honest thoughts, and then, and only then, use your tools to bring your beautiful, entirely original picture to life.
Which brings us to step 1, capture the spark.
If you want to capture that initial spark, there are 3 golden rules we have to follow. First, zero AI. Never ever begin by just asking a machine to write your song. Second, you have to begin by asking yourself some deep internal questions, because the human heart always comes first. And third, simply collect those thoughts. Just gather them honestly. Don't worry, the technology will come in much later to help you clearly express what's already bubbling up inside you.
Now, to get those thoughts really flowing, you need the right prompts. Ask yourself these specific questions to kind of jumpstart that internal reflection process and unearth those deep emotions you might be carrying around. What's been heavy on my heart lately? What conversation have I literally been replaying in my head for the last week? What prayer have I prayed over and over? What emotion just refuses to leave me alone? These aren't just warm-up questions. These are the literal keys to unlocking the true genesis of your music.
When you sit down and really ask yourself those questions, the answers might come out as just a tiny fragment. Sometimes it's a full-blown 3-page journal entry, sure. But sometimes it's just a single, powerful thought, like, I've been carrying burdens that were never mine. Wow. Or maybe something like, I think I finally understand what grace really means. These totally honest, raw little fragments, these sparks, are exactly where the absolute best songs in the world are born.
But listen, at this early stage, there's a massive trap you absolutely need to avoid. You are simply collecting your thoughts right now, which means you must completely ignore the pressure of rhyming. Forget about creating a formal verse or chorus structure. The second you start stressing out about trying to make mine rhyme with fine or shine, you are going to immediately kill the emotional honesty of that thought. Seriously, toss structure out the window for a minute. Just focus on collecting the truth.
Okay, let's put this into practice.
It is time for your first Canvas exercise. Here's what I want you to do. Grab your phone, set a timer, and spend exactly 15 to 20 minutes focused entirely on free writing. Why that specific amount of time? Well, it's long enough to push past all those superficial, everyday thoughts that just kind of sit at the top of your mind, but it's short enough that you won't totally overthink it or burn yourself out.
And as you start answering those reflection prompts we just talked about, you have to strictly adhere to these rules. First off, do not write lyrics. Just write freely. Do not edit yourself as you go. Honestly, if you spell a word wrong, who cares? Leave it. Do not worry about grammar, and absolutely positively do not worry about rhyming. If you stop to edit, you are going to paralyze your creativity. We are just out here gathering the raw clay right now, okay? We'll sculpt it into something beautiful later.
Your one and only objective during this 15 to 20-minute exercise is to take your lived experiences, those lingering emotions, your honest prayers, and just splash them all across the page. Simply fill your canvas. Let the paint fly. Seriously, the messier, the better. True authenticity usually starts out looking a little messy anyway.
Look, if you take absolutely nothing else away from this exercise, please remember this core hierarchy. The human heart must invariably come first. Your story, your voice, your highly specific life experiences, those things are completely irreplaceable. Technology's only role, whether we're talking about an AI text generator, an AI music tool, whatever, is simply to act as a creative companion. It's there to help you clearly express what is already placed inside you.
So when that timer goes off, look down at your messy, beautiful, totally filled canvas. Before you ever write a single musical note, before you try to structure a catchy chorus, and definitely before you boot up an AI tool, ask yourself this one crucial question. Does this honestly represent my heart? Get that part right, and you're already halfway to a masterpiece.